So welcome back to the channel. I'm going to start doing some more nutrition videos, and one of my clients said to me the other day, oh, red meat's bad for you. And then I thought, you know what, I've kind of had enough of this. People saying red meat is bad. And actually, I don't really like when people just say stuff's bad for you, because the only thing that's really bad for you is like poison, battery acid, and probably alcohol. Like alcohol is pretty bad for you. Anyway, some people like to talk about red meat like it's almost like a cigarette with protein added. And that's not the case. So red meat isn't the villain that it's made out to be, but it's not a free pass either. So when I'm talking about red meat here, I'm going to be using it as like an umbrella term. So we'll have processed red meat and unprocessed red meat, which is going to be like your steaks and your chicken breast. We're talking about red meat, Aaron. Basically, your steaks, your mince, that sort of stuff. Basically, it's just the meat. Hasn't gone through any other processes. It's maybe you ground it yourself or cubed, whatever. If you've been told like red meat is bad for you and it's destroying your health, this video is for you. And if you want to find a little bit more information about red meat, then keep listening. And I know this is going to upset the anti-meat crowd, but steak is not the same thing as a hot dog. And if you're from England and you've ever had like a Richmond sausage, you'll know it's literally just arseholes. I mean they are quite good though, but yeah, we're not talking the same thing. As I'm not going to pretend that they're equal, but also I want you to understand nutrition, and I also want you to understand what is good for you and what it's not bad for you. It's not going to kill you, but lots of it will affect you. Why do people say red meat is bad? And is it actually bad for you? What nutrients does it have? And can you eat it every day without wrecking your health? People usually say red meat is bad for you for 4 reasons. 4 reasons. First is the cancer risk, and which is a big concern, but the World Health Organization has classified processed meat as carcinogenic and red meat as probably carcinogenic. So you have to remember, with a lot of studies as well, it is quite hard to get the participants to maybe follow the protocol or understand their health and fitness when it starts. Obviously, they're going to take samples and get all their data to start with. So when they say like probably carcinogenic, it's not actually that. Like if it was, they'd say it, but probably there's some studies that say it might be, some studies say it might not be. So sometimes it comes down to the way you cook it, which we will cover in a little bit. The key detail, which everyone does seem to miss out on, is it's the processed meat that's causing a lot of the problems. So the second one is heart disease. So there's some studies and large reviews that find eating red meat, again, especially processed red meat, is associated with higher risk of cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes. But again, these are based on like observational studies, and it shows links, but no guaranteed cause and effect. So processed meat, cause and effect. Let me turn that sound off, go away, because I just got a buzz. The third reason why people don't like red meat is saturated fat and cholesterol. And lots of people hear red meat and instantly think like clogged arteries. But there is some newer evidence. I am reading from my computer because I just wanted to make sure I get all the points correct. Otherwise, this would be rubbish video. The newer evidence is more mixed than the old fear campaign. If you actually look back through history, there's lots of weird fear campaigns, especially salt as well. Salt was one where they're saying, oh, don't do this, don't do that. And actually it turns out to be the wrong thing. Daily unprocessed beef does not seem to dramatically worsen your blood lipids in every study. There were some where it did increase LDL cholesterol, but it's a small increase and it's not going to cause these problems that people think you're going to get. This fourth point is actually what red meat comes in. So if you look at where a lot of people eat red meat in general population that may not eat like fresh red meat, it comes in burgers, sausages, takeaways, fried. It will come with buns, chips, beer, no fiber, and then people want to blame the steak or the red meat, but they forget what everything else it comes with. So yeah. And is red meat actually bad for you? And the honest answer is no, it's not bad for you. When people say bad, I always think it's like you don't have good and bad foods. Like we have, don't eat too much of that, eat more of that, eat less of that, because you're not going to get ill off red meat. You're not going to die. It's not poison. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's bad, but in generally it's not bad. Unprocessed red meat isn't bad for you. It's actually one of the most nutrient dense foods you can actually eat. And it gives you high quality protein, iron, zinc, B12, niacin, vitamin B6, selenium, and phosphorus. Whoa. That's why I wrote that down, because I need to make sure I got all those points in there. Meat makes a major contribution to zinc and B12 uptake, and some people it can help the iron uptake too. Because of the form of iron that's in red meat, it absorbs easier. B12, iron, and zinc are nutrients that people do struggle to get enough of, especially if their intake is low and the absorption is poor. So red meat can help with your B12, iron, zinc. Another reason why you should eat red meat. Also, the iron, the bioavailable, red meat also contains heme iron, which is more bioavailable and easier to absorb than non-heme iron from plant foods. So there's another benefit. If I haven't answered your question yet, red meat is not going to kill you or give you a heart attack. We will look at the other side. Eating a lot of red meat. Again, the cravat here is processed red meat is linked with higher bowel cancer risk and is also linked with metabolic diseases. There is a cravat as well, again here. It can also be down to the way you cook it. So if you're cooking it in high temperatures, like charring or heavy grilling, or using oils where you're putting oils at high temperature as well, that can also add to the risk. So red meat can definitely be part of a healthy diet as long as you limit unprocessed foods and also other nutrients, all your other nutrients you're going to need. I'm not going to list them out here. I will do another video for that. So why would you want to eat red meat anyway in the first place? And obviously for the protein, muscle repair, strength recovery, keeping you fuller for longer. Vitamin B12. People want to have B12 injections, which is cool. They might lack in B12, take B12 supplements, but actually have a steak. You'll feel great. Iron, zinc, niacin, B6, selenium, and phosphorus, which is actually useful for general health, thyroid function, and bones. So there's so many benefits to red meat. I wouldn't bother cutting it. Obviously, red meat is going to be useful for athletes, people trying to build muscle, and women with low iron stores. It'll help with iron, your energy, feeling better, and people who actually need nutrient-dense foods. Because a lot of people don't eat nutrient-dense foods, and that's half the reason why we get these problems, because our body's lacking in nutrients. We're eating too much processed stuff, and we're not having good quality meat, veg, fruit. But do you have to eat red meat? No, if you don't want all those benefits, you don't have to eat red meat. But it doesn't mean it's just toxic dead flesh with no upside. That's just like an ideology that the vegans use, and it's not actual real nutrition advice. So I wanted to go into the myths that people get wrong. And before we go into this, like I said earlier, you have to understand that some studies are hard to control, usually don't get a lot of context about the health and diet of the participants. And I'm not saying don't be vegan or just eat red meat. I want you to keep an open mind and look at everything and look at your nutrition as a whole. And if you don't want to eat red meat because you love animals, that's cool. But don't go around saying, oh, it's bad for you, it's going to kill you. Like, because it won't. So myth number one. All red meat is equally bad. Processed and fresh red meat are totally different. Bacon, ham, hot dogs, salami, they're all in a different category, and you have to separate the two when we come to this. It's not the same as cooking fresh steak, beef mince that you cook yourself. Myth number two, red meat causes cancer. It's way too simplistic. If people ever use simplistic terms like that, I just wouldn't believe them. Like, oh, it causes cancer. Well, it doesn't, because you have to look at everything else that you're doing. And when I coach people, we look at everything from sleep to movement to nutrition, to daily activities, to stress levels. Like, it's not just one thing that's going to kill you. Myth number 3, if you eat red meat, you don't need to care about anything else. This is where I think the carnivore diet does slip down a little bit. I mean, most people stick on it. Unfortunately, as a ex-rugby player and ultra runner, you do need your other nutrients for performance. Like, you need your carbohydrates, you need your fruit and vegetables. Like, if you want to perform optimally, you're going to need those other bits. If you want to build muscle, have a good workout, you're going to need those other bits. Jesus. And don't get me wrong, I've tried carnivore, keto, and I love it if I'm not trying to train hard or perform, which is cool. But if you love just eating meat, then cool. But you're also going to have to add some salt to the diet, make sure you drink plenty of water, and other bits and bobs. But I'm not going to go into that too much today. Myth number 4, red meat is the reason everyone has bad cholesterol. But it's not that simple. It's really not that simple. And some studies showing small changes in LDL, but to little to no effect. And actually, anything to do with cholesterol on red meat, by the looks of it, is not actually that substantial. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Myth number 5. This is one for the vegans. Humans shouldn't eat meat because plants have everything. You can build a healthy diet without meat. 1, it's extremely hard. 2, I do know people that do well on vegetarian diets. Vegan is always a little bit too strict for most people, and they struggle to get everything in because you need to eat so much volume to get enough protein. And if we're trying to restrict processed foods, like, if you see most vegans, they're eating fake bacon, fake chicken, fake protein. Like, it's all processed, which is not going to do anything good for your health. So even if you don't eat red meat, the main takeaway from this is stop eating processed foods. Like, just stop. And can you eat meat every day? You can eat meat every day. Of course you can. And I guess the better question is, should you? And if it's down to red meat, I would say you should try and have it a couple of times a week. You don't have to have it every day. It's always good to rotate your sources of protein, get different nutrients in and things like that, but you can have it every day if you want. Also, if you like different types of meat, cool, go for it. Like, chicken's just as good, not as nutrient dense, but still just high in protein and has a different set of nutrients. But remember, it has to be unprocessed. Your steak, beef, chicken. I like a bit of pork. Pork's so underrated. Veal, venison, all those sorts of things. So if it's mostly fresh, unprocessed red meat, and inside like a good diet with fruits, fiber, vegetables, and not loads of ultra processed junk, you'll be fine. Don't get me wrong, like, have some takeaways, have some processed food like once a week, but just try and limit it. Just don't eat it every day. Try and only have like one day where you have some processed food. It's not rocket science, and that's the thing I'm trying to get across here. Although I'm going to make this a bit longer, like, this is what we're trying to get across. Would I make bacon, sausages and burgers every day of your health plan? No. Unless you make your own burgers, there's a little cravat there. So if you're going to buy the steak, grind it up yourself, make it into a burger yourself, then sweet. But if not, won't buy them from the shops because you don't know what's been added. They add other stuff to it. And yeah. So the smart approach, basically, is keep your red meat in, keep leaner cuts in, and don't burn it to death, and barbecue it every night and add some variation. Simple. Really simple. So takeaways from today that I want you to think about, or just actually put into action, because it's all right saying it, but it's putting into action. So takeaways is limit your takeaways. Red meat isn't a poison. It's not going to kill you. Processed meat is the bigger problem, and red meat is nutrient dense. Context matters more than food tribalism. I don't even like that word, but that's a cool word. Basically, you have to look at the whole of everyone. You can't just be looking at specific parts. So even if your diet is crap, you could be exercising plenty, getting plenty of rest, not very stressed, relaxing, and your health markers would probably be okay. So choose fresh red meat over processed meat. Watch your portion size, but that's like with anything. If you're going to overeat, you're going to put on weight. If you undereat, you're going to lose weight. Easy. Don't eat like a baby or a kid like just chicken nuggets every night. The amount of people I see that just eat like a baby. I said it in my last video. I'm going to say it in this video. I might say it in every video. And just avoid burning your food all the time. Basically. Simple. To cap this all off, is red meat bad for you? No, not automatically. No food's bad for you. Can it go into a healthy diet? Yes. The bigger issue is high intake of processed meat, low fiber, and overall poor diet quality. That's where the problem lies. Nutrition is rarely as dramatic as people want to make out on the internet. Unfortunately, it can be fairly boring, but this is why I'm going to be here trying to do some more videos for you. And if you want more videos where I cut through the nonsense without all the propaganda and the nonsense, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and let me know your thoughts. Any questions, drop them in below. And keep the meat in. Go get the gains, baby.